Welcome to another edition of Papa Bojo's Kitchen. Today I'm going to make you a fettuccine with a creamy mushroom sauce that we had in Rome while we were in Italy a couple of years ago. By far my favorite dish I had on the whole trip, and here are your ingredients. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to add our mushrooms to a plain preheated pan. We're going to continue cooking these mushrooms until we sweat out most of their moisture. When you see these sweat, we're going to move these around a little bit, continuing to get the moisture out. When you see they're brown, we're going to move these to a separate dish out of the pan, and we're going to set these aside. Now we're going to add the oil and the butter over medium heat. Once the butter is melted, we're going to add in our shallot and stir these in thoroughly. We're going to cook the shallot until it becomes translucent. Now this is optional, but I'm going to add in about a quarter cup of red wine. I've turned the heat on high, and I'm going to reduce this for just a couple minutes. I've moved the heat back to medium. I'm adding in my garlic, and I'm going to stir this in now for about 1 minute. Now I'm going to add in my mushrooms and stir. Now I've turned the heat on low. I'm going to add and stir in my flour and continue cooking until the flour is no longer raw. Once the rawness has been cooked out of the flour, I'm going to add my cream. I'm going to turn the heat up to high and stir this in really well. I'm going to stir in my salt and pepper and stir in my thyme and add in my broth. Once it starts to come to a boil, we're going to stir in all of our cheese, and we're going to continue cooking until this has thickened. Now it's time to get ready to drop our pasta. And you can see how nice and thick our sauce is now. Now's the time to taste and adjust any seasoning. Now we sprinkle in our parsley and incorporate that into the sauce. Well, the pasta is perfectly al dente and we're ready to plate. So I'm going to take just a little bit of this sauce and mix it in with my pasta just to coat it. And I'm going to get a nice helping of this fettuccine and put it on my plate. I'm going to scoop on some of this nice mushroom sauce. Then I'm going to top it with a little bit of fresh parsley. And that's all there is to making this great fettuccine with a creamy mushroom sauce. You really have to give this a try. If you love mushrooms and you love cream sauces, this will be by far the best you've ever had. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this episode of Papa Bojo's Kitchen. I hope to see you again. Buon appetito, everybody. Bye.